All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening for the first of three community engagement events to hear from you on new proposals to broaden the tax base and adjust select fees. Looks like we have a fairly small group this evening. That's okay. This video is being recorded, so lots of folks will see it in the coming days. This engagement event, this engagement event is specific to several parks and recreation fee proposals, which we will learn more about shortly. My name is Michael Spaeth, and I'm a principal planner for the Town of Oro Valley and project manager for this outreach project, as well as tonight's meeting facilitator. My role as facilitator is to be neutral, fair, and efficient, and my primary goal is to make sure your comments are registered and ensure your questions are answered. My aim is to ensure everyone leaves the meeting with an understanding of the Parks and Rec fee proposals and that you have had the opportunity to make your voice heard. Some ground rules for this evening. Please be respectful of all participants. Please don't participate in any inappropriate or disruptive actions. Everyone's microphones will be muted until I open it up for questions and comments later during the meeting. I'll provide a quick how-to on using Zoom before that part of the meeting if you're unfamiliar. We are scheduled to go until 7:30 this evening. So for tonight's agenda, we will have two staff presentations. The first will provide a brief overview of why the Parks and Rec fees are proposed to be changed. And the second presentation will be a summary of those specific changes that are included in the Parks and Recreation proposal. After that, we'll be opening up the discussion where you'll be able to provide comments or ask any questions you might have. I respectfully ask everyone to hold their questions until after the presentations, as many of your questions may have been addressed. With regard to the project schedule, this meeting is part of a comprehensive effort to educate the community and garner feedback on not only this proposal, but two other proposals aimed at expanding the tax base and revising some existing fees. Over the last couple of years, proposals from the Parks and Rec Department, the town's finance department, as well as the Stormwater Utility Department have been developed to ensure the town can continue to provide the high-level amenities and services the community expects. In the last few months, staff have presented each proposal to the respective board and commission, as well as town council to gather their input. A community outreach plan was kicked off last month to get word out about this project, and hopefully many of you were prompted by that outreach plan to come join us this evening. So now we're at the most important part where we get to interact and engage with the community to get your input and feedback. In addition to tonight's meetings, we have a second meeting tomorrow night to discuss several new tax proposals, and then we'll finish with the third meeting next Tuesday to discuss proposed revisions to the stormwater utility rate. Following these community engagement events, staff will be going back to the respective boards and commissions with any revisions that are born out of our meetings and ultimately culminating with a town council decision later this fall. So with that introduction, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Dave Gephardt, the town's chief financial officer, to briefly discuss why the fees are proposed to be changed. Dave?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to participate this evening in this important initiative. To set the stage for this evening's presentation, the town collects a number of different fees, some examples being water, stormwater, and parks and recreation fees, which we'll be covering in depth this evening. I think it's important to note that there is a primary difference between water and stormwater fees and parks and recreation fees. And that difference is that water and stormwater fees are intended to be self-supporting. Parks and recreation fees, in contrast, are typically intended to be augmented by tax revenues, meaning that they are not intended to cover 100% of providing the service. With that said, our parks and recreation fees have not been updated in a long time, as you'll hear, and they are due for an update. What we've heard from our residents, a couple things, is that they, number one, enjoy town parks and recreation service offerings and amenities. But secondly, they don't want to see a reduction in service levels. And so the proposal you'll hear this evening assists the town in ensuring that the quality and level of parks and recreation services the town is providing is keeping up with the standards that our residents expect. As I'm sure you're all aware, we have come through a period of significant inflation over the last several years, and yet our parks and recreation fees have not kept pace. And while no one enjoys spending more money on a product or service, we feel our proposed fees that you'll hear about this evening still provide residents an outstanding value for the services that we're providing. And with that, I'd like to introduce our Parks and Recreation Deputy Director, Matt Jankowski, who will be diving into the details related to our fee increase proposal. Matt?
Thank you, Dave. And thank you, Mike. If you can go ahead and hit the next, whoop, that one right there. Perfect. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity again to share a little bit more information as to what we're proposing as a department. As has already been stated, it has been a number of years since any fee increases have been made as a part of what our department offers with regards to memberships and rentals. Those are the two primary areas that these fee increases are being focused on. It's been, for most fees, a decade or more since any changes have been made. You'll see that in more detail in these upcoming slides. But again, getting into the specific focus areas of membership and rentals. Memberships are offered at our Oro Valley Community and Recreation Center, our Oro Valley Aquatic Center, as well as the archery range. And the rental category really focuses on everything else that we have outside of programming. So that's our fields, that again is the archery range, ramadas, lap lanes at both the Aquatic Center and the Community and Recreation Center, as well as Steam Pump Ranch, special event park rentals, and pickleball courts. So as I said, I'll go into a little bit more detail with both of these. I will also share, this has been the effort of many months and many members of our staff looking over not only what we charge, but also what some of our comparable facilities, either municipal or private in the area, to ensure that we are keeping pace with what is going on around us and what we're providing and offering as a part of this proposal does make sense. Mike, next slide, please. So as you can see in this first slide, I know it is a lot of information, but we'll start over here on the left-hand side with the CRC memberships. Across the top of each one of these columns and in future slides, you're going to see a breakdown of what exactly is being shown here. It is a lot of information, so I'll go into a little bit more detail. You can see across the top, you're going to see the different membership type. You're going to see what we're currently charging our residents, the current resident fee, what we're proposing with this proposal for a new resident fee. You're also going to see the current non-resident fee, that's what NR stands for, and the proposed non-resident fee. So as it sits today, we do charge non-residents more than we do charge our Town of Oro Valley residents. Now, we've also heard our town council make the comment that they do want to see us value town residents and members of the community getting premium pricing and premium abilities outside of non-residents. This proposal reflects that throughout. You'll clearly see resident and non-resident fees differentiated and non-resident fees being more than what is being proposed for our resident fees. So again, starting on the left-hand side, you can see what's being proposed for our classic memberships. These fees were introduced in 2015 when the town took ownership of the Community and Recreation Center, and they've gone unchanged since then. So it has been 10 years. We actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary last month in June. So it's been 10 full years since these fees have been touched. And as you can see what we're proposing here, especially on the resident side, very small increase. If you look at the adult fee, currently we're charging $40 per month. We're proposing an increase of $5 to $45. You can see the corresponding non-resident fee as well there. If you look below the section of the classic memberships, you'll notice the premium memberships. The premium memberships as it sits right now shows a adult fee of $60, and we're looking to increase that to $75. Now that is more certainly than what we're charging for the classic memberships, but as a premium member, you do get additional benefits, and the benefits and the value associated with that are the reason why you see a little bit higher increases associated with the premium memberships. We do take into consideration the value that you're getting for that higher level of membership. Moving over to the right-hand side, the Oro Valley Aquatic Center and archery memberships are being shown. The Oro Valley Aquatic Center memberships were established in 2013. They have not seen any change since that time. That was when the Aquatic Center reopened after a massive multi-million dollar renovation. As you can see over there as well, what we're proposing right now is a $5 increase to an adult resident fee going from $30 to $35, so only a $5 difference, and that would jump up to $45 for non-residents. Below that, you will see the archery memberships set up the same way, a moderate increase associated with the value that we believe that is being offered in comparison to what's around us, with a higher non-resident fee being shown. Next slide, please. Moving into the rentals, rentals are shown a little bit differently. And looking at the left-hand side, you can see that what we're going to discuss first are the field rentals that we offer through the Parks and Recreation Department. These fees were established in 1999, so it's been quite some time since these were revised. One item to note too, I also want to call out, we do have a little bit different fee structure with regards to rentals, specifically with fields. As it sits today, we currently have what we consider a non-peak and peak time, which dictates different fees that a user would pay based on when they are reserving a field. Non-peak hours today are 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., and peak hours are 5 p.m. until 10 p.m. The vast majority, and when I say vast majority, I'm talking about 90% plus of our field rentals take place in that peak time rate. So what we are proposing is to eliminate the non-peak peak hours and just go with a flat fee regardless of the time of day. Based on historical data, this would have very little impact to the non-peak hours just because there aren't that many reservations that take place during that time period. That being said, you can see that a resident or a nonprofit organization that's looking to reserve a field would go from today paying $10 per hour to paying $12 per hour. So that's a difference of $2 per hour. However, the non-resident for-profit person would go from paying $20 to $24 an hour. So double what a resident or a nonprofit organization would be paying. Down below that, you can see what's being proposed for archery range and Ramada hourly rentals. On the right-hand side, specifically being called out at the top portion are the Oro Valley Aquatic Center and Community Recreation Center lap lanes. What we are proposing today for our resident and nonprofit organizations would be an increase of $1 per lane per hour. Currently, they're paying $6. We're proposing, again, that $1 increase to $7 per hour. With regards to the short course, you can see that doubles with the long course. The difference between the two, obviously, just like it says, one is twice as long as the long course is twice as long as the short course. And there's a corresponding non-resident for-profit fee that's listed there that is, again, double what our residents or nonprofit organizations would pay. Below that, called out specifically, are Steam Pump Ranch reservations. When people want to reserve or members of the community want to reserve Steam Pump Ranch, we have a sliding scale based on what that fee is. And that fee is based on the number of attendees that they're planning to have at the facility for their reservation. Private or nonprofit events pay substantially less than public or for-profit events. Again, the differentiation being that most of our private or nonprofit events are going to be for our local community members, while a public for-profit event is going to be greater impact and ultimately looking most likely from somebody outside of the community utilizing the community space. Next slide, please. This next slide here on the left-hand side shows event rentals. So as it stands today, members of the community have the ability to reserve portions of a park or an entire park, depending on what they want to do. This is usually specific to special events, something like a concert, a triathlon, something along those lines. Right now, we have one current flat fee that we charge all of our users. What you can see under the proposed fee side would be the new nonprofit or resident rate. And what you see to the right of that, the proposed non-resident or for-profit fee for each park, specific amenities that are new, like the skate park and pump track, which we recently installed a little over a year ago with the expansion of the Naranja Park project, as well as then the Oro Valley Aquatic Center for after-hours rentals. That's a breakout of what's being proposed for all of our park spaces and facilities that typically will have event rentals tied to them. On the right-hand side, you can see pickleball court rentals. This is the only fee that has been updated anytime that you could consider recent, and still that was 6 years ago. 2019 is when the pickleball craze really hit Oro Valley and when the expansion of what we offer for pickleball courts took effect. You can see what we're charging here. So a resident nonprofit is paying $5 today. We're proposing that they would pay $10 per court per hour. And for a non-resident for-profit, that number would double from $10 to $20. Next slide, Mike. So based on what's being proposed, as you can see, they are nominal increases for most categories, especially when you consider all of the value that's being provided specifically to our residents. And again, they are getting the better deal. It is much larger increases for our non-residents that are coming into the community to use these spaces, to use these amenities that we have here. As a part of the effort that we've done here, I know earlier in the slide deck we showed the different meetings that have taken place. Our department has also met and received support from a number of groups that this would directly impact. El Conquistador Tennis is our tennis contractor. Push Ridge Archers utilize the archery range and are associated with the University of Arizona archery program that utilizes the facility out there. The Oro Valley Community and Recreation Center group has been supportive of this, as have the Oro Valley Sports Alliance members, and those are representatives of all of the major youth sports organizations within the town of Oro Valley who do reserve field space to run their operations. And lastly, listed on there is the Oro Valley Swim Team organizations. They are the ones who utilize primarily the Aquatic Center and the Community and Recreation Center so that they can operate their organization. In addition to these, this presentation has also been provided to the Oro Valley Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and it also gone before the Oro Valley Town Council as a part of a study session. Ultimately, the goal of these fee increases will be utilized for future park improvements of a large scale, what we consider capital improvement projects. So some recent capital improvement projects for reference are the Naranja Park expansion. That project was a capital improvement project. The improvements out here to the Community and Recreation Center, tennis and pickleball courts. So these fees would go towards large projects that would ultimately either improve or add to new amenities that our community would have the ability to use in years moving forward. That pretty much concludes my presentation here. I will pass it back over to Mike.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Gebhardt, Mr. Jankowski, for the information. Now we get to the most important part of the meeting, which is where we turn the time over to you. If you want to make a comment or ask a question, you'll need to raise your electronically generated hand by clicking on the raise hand button outlined here in the yellow circle. Depending on the device you're on, you may have to hit the three little dots that say more to be able to access that function. Raised hands will be answered in the order that they are raised. Please make sure that you are unmuted on your device when it is your turn to speak. If you are participating by phone, you'll need to press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. If anybody's having any Zoom issues during this question and answer period, please reach out to Mr. Bayervella, our planning manager, at 229-4810, and he'll be happy to help you as best he can. In an effort to get to as many questions and comments as possible, I respectfully ask you to keep your questions short or comments short and to the point. If someone else asks the same question you had, it's perfectly fine to just say that you agree with that comment. If you have more than one question, that's fine. I'll circle back to you as soon as possible. My aim is to ensure that everyone who wants to speak is given an opportunity to do so. We will be tracking your questions and comments on our whiteboard, which I'll now have my colleague, Ms. Malini Sims, to share that. And while she's doing that, all of these comments are being tracked and summarized, which will be then used and forwarded, will be used by staff to help revise the potential proposals, and will also be forwarded to both the respective boards and commissions as well as town council to help them make their recommendations and decisions as well. For those of you unfamiliar with the whiteboard, you can navigate around the screen by using the tools on the left, and feel free to zoom in on anything if you need a clearer view of that. As you can see, we have 3 categories reflecting our discussion this evening, and I'd like to ask that we focus on one category at a time, and then time permitting, we'll open it up to all questions at the end. So with that, I'd like to start with, I see there's a couple hands raised, but I'd like to start with anybody who has questions relative to the membership proposal that Mr. Jankowski referenced. So yes, Roberta, looks like your hand was raised first. So please make sure that you, yep, go right ahead. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, hold on a minute. There we go. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I have just a couple of quick comments, and I'm all for the increase actually. But I wanted to know why, of all the increases, why are you? I mean, youth are great, but why are they sacrosanct? Why is youth the only category that was not raised while seniors were being raised? And as you know, not all seniors have Medicare Advantage and get the free silver and fit or whatever. Money's tight with seniors too. So I believe if you're going to increase these other categories, I think you might want to consider increasing even a few bucks the membership category for youth.
Okay, yeah, great question. Thank you. I will have Mr. Jankowski go ahead and take that one.
Yes, absolutely. Ultimately, the decision to keep the youth memberships what it was is our desire to try to drive more youth members. Between our categories of youth memberships across the board, most of them are single digits. It did not really make sense to raise that. And again, like I stated, just trying to give children an opportunity to utilize the facility who may be interested in it. We didn't want to have any sort of a barrier to entry should that be the case. We don't have many youth members as it sits right now. Again, most of them are in the single digits with regards to each one of those categories for facilities.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sorry, and Roberta, I did hear your comment, so I'm going to make sure that we get that categorized here, because we were having a little bit of trouble with the whiteboard. So it was basically, why are only the younger memberships held the same? Okay, great, thank you. So yes, it looks like and I apologize in advance if I'm butchering somebody's name, but Devin or Devon, you're up next, please.
Devon is way too ritzy. It's just Devon,
Okay,
like heaven.
there you go. Perfect.
I'm just curious, does golf membership fall under any of this?
Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Devin. The
Hi.
golf memberships are raised, if not annually, every other year. Indigo Sports sets that rate. They converse with the town prior to doing so, and they communicate that directly with their members. Golf increases are not a part of our department presentation, but it is something that's looked at on an annual basis. I don't want to say it's updated every single year, and maybe Mr. Gephardt, you might know a little bit more detail, but if they don't increase every year, they certainly do every other year. And they have been doing that very steadily the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, Matt, my understanding is that they do increase those rates every year on an annual basis. So so they as Matt stated, he's correct. They review it, they analyze it, and they have a small nominal increase on an annual basis.
Thank you.
All right, and yeah, just to be clear, definitely not part of this proposal. So All right. Yes, Mr. Matt Wood, I recognize a familiar face. Thank you for your patience. Please go right ahead.
Thank you. So I listened to, I'm on the PRAB, so I listened to this last month. Yeah, and I'm in favor of the increases. In fact, I think, like the golf does, the nominal increases every year. We should put some kind of formula in for that so that we don't have big jumps, just, a little bit at a time and even just inflation. It makes a lot of sense. We spent so much money on capital improvements and we'll continue to do so for the next few years anyway, while we still have money. Um, this is a bargain. It's an absolute bargain. And I've only heard a few people, whine and complain. Most everybody goes, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." So at least from my perspective, I think this is a good move. And again, we should be a little more systematic if we can.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Wood. Appreciate that. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised on membership fees. And of course, we can always come back if somebody has the other one. Oh, Devin, please. Yes, I see your raised hand again.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
No, no problem.
Excuse me. Under new events of the different parks, does it matter what time? Is there a time frame for those rates?
No, there would be no time frame for those events. There wouldn't be a different fee model based on certain times of day.
Okay, and then actually I do have one more question. This is very near and dear to my heart. Steam Pump Ranch, charge for nonprofit events. Will the Historical Society be charged for events?
I believe that would be dependent on what the event all entails, but typically we work very closely with you all as an organization. When it comes to events, I believe that because of because of what you all do out there at the ranch, usually it's just specific to staffing. But depending on the event, I guess we'd have to have a little bit more conversation about that.
Okay, we'll converse.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. And Ms. Sims, if you wouldn't mind, it sounds like we jumped over to the field and rental facilities with those last two questions. If you wouldn't mind just moving on those over there for me to, is she here? I think she is. Yes. All right. Thank you. It's like the hand behind the green curtain and it just moves. Thank you, Miss Sims. Okay. Well, with that segue into facility and field rental rates, are there any questions or comments anybody has relative to those proposed revised fees that Mr. Janikowski referenced during his presentation?
Yeah, I do, and I can't seem to raise my hand. Can you
Oh,
hear
okay.
me?
Sure. Yep. Please go right ahead.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thank you. I'm Rich Hansen. I'm the venue manager for the Arizona Pickleball Players Association, and we field, as you probably know, a series of matches from January to March every year, and have done for years at the facility. And I'm a little confused why. Most every membership fees are up 16% or something like that, and other fees are up, various amounts. But the court rental fees are doubling all of a sudden. We realize that this hasn't happened in a long time, and support increases, but being hit by 100% increase in 1 year seems excessive. And we're wondering why pickleball is being targeted and more so than the other ones. I mean, we're fielding, this is we're a nonprofit, and, we're looking at almost $1,000 in increased fees, doubling, this coming year. And it came a little bit of a surprise, and we're wondering why pickleball is being targeted like this for a pretty low overhead activity. I mean, you don't have to throw chlorine into the water in our pool, and there's not a lot of maintenance on the pickleball courts compared to many of your other facilities. So I'd like to understand why we're seeing a doubling and everybody else is seeing much less.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, go right ahead, Mr. Jankowski.
Yeah, happy to answer that question. Well, when we initially came up with a $5 per hour rental fee, that was something that we really put together on the quick, to be perfectly honest with you. That $5 fee was undervaluing what what the value of that amenity and that rental is ultimately. Looking at comparables in the area, a $10 per hour fee is more in line with what other, if you were to reserve them from another entity, would be charging. The other element of this too is the fact that we have very limited pickleball courts, and the impact of them being reserved is substantial to our membership as well as our drop-in and open play players for all of the different programming that we offer out there. Mr. Hanson, I know that you're aware of just how popular the sport is.
Yeah.
Doing events, doing rentals, reservations like that does significantly impact the usage of the other members of the community. So it was for those reasons we did do that. I don't necessarily we didn't target pickleball so much as we did essentially try to right size it based on what actual conditions are.
Okay.
Got a little bit more time to work with it.
I can add one more a little bit because I'm looking at many other venues and actually it's going to impact us more than just the increased fees at Oro Valley, because I've been using it as a comparison to the commercial facilities, the indoor facilities that do have overhead. I mean, they're paying substantial amount of rent. They have to make a profit. There's air conditioning. And their rates, because we're kind of a wholesale supplier of players to those facilities, we can get basically rates not too far away from what your proposed rate is. So it's messing with the marketplace, is what I'm telling you. Here's a public facility. Yes, you have every right to charge, and you should, but it's approaching what I can get at indoor commercial facilities, and that doesn't seem right to me. That seems like you've gone a little bit too far in this. Would $7 or $8 make a lot more sense and be more market correct? I think it would be. We're not talking about individuals. We're talking about when I walk into a commercial facility, I'm saying, hey, I have the potential to bring 100 players to your facility, and they discount the rate accordingly. Okay. And that's what we do at Oro Valley. So if you just look up the rates at Ace or the Pad or Pickler, yeah, you're cheaper, but not if you're talking about a wholesale supply of players. You're in the same ballpark, which I don't think you should be.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Hanson. We appreciate those comments, and we want to make sure Ms. Sims was tracking all that for you. So again, these comments will be summarized and forwarded to both
Very good.
PRAB, of course, and then ultimately to Town Council as well. So, and I should have pointed out, there are several members of Town Council as well as Mr. Wood from PRAB who are also listening in on the conversation tonight as well. So
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
thank you very much for the comment. Yes, Roberta.
Here we go. I have a question about the event rentals. We're talking about this whole area, correct? Am I in the right section? Okay.
Sure. Yep,
First
you're
of all,
good.
and I don't know if just nonprofits can do, maybe it's my naivete that there is a difference, but am I correct that there's no difference, or maybe this is what, that there's no difference if, let's say you're gonna rent the whole park, like Naranda Park or Riverfront Park, there is no difference in fees between, resident, for-profit and nonprofit? Is that correct?
No, there is a difference. The resident nonprofit rate is the same, and the non-resident for-profit rate is the same. So
Oh,
that's
okay,
the
because I'm sorry, unless I'm
differentiator.
reading this wrong.
No,
All I see
I
is
understand that.
proposed fee and proposed non-resident fee.
Yeah, this is a lot of information and there is a little bit of nuance to it. So I do apologize. I know that it can be a little tricky in understanding, but yes, there is a resident and nonprofit are viewed as the same with regards to the fee
Oh,
structure.
okay, and I'm sorry, you may have said that earlier and I spaced it out, but what I want to know is what was the fee before? For just, and okay, the two things I'm talking about are full day rate for Naranja Park and full day rate for Riverfront.
Sure. So the previous fee for full rental of Naranja Park per hour was $410 per hour, and Riverfront Park was $95 per hour.
Okay, and how about the full day rate is what I'm talking about here.
So we did not have a full day rate.
Oh, you didn't?
previously.
Okay.
So and
Because
that's part of the reason why we're bringing this forward, because as we are working more closely with our economic development division of the town, they are going after different leads and trying to secure entertainment or tournaments and whatnot. Being able to come up with a fee that's easily quotable was important as a part of this exercise. So
okay, and the reason is my family does major events in the DC area, and I've worked for them. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but I know a little bit. And if you're talking about a full day rate, meaning like, dawn to dusk or whenever this thing's open, and including parking, including everything, including garbage pickup. I mean, I don't know what they have to provide, but I gotta tell you, $2,000 a day for Naranja Park and $1,000 a day for Riverfront Park for a full day for an event is a spanking deal. And frankly, I think you are underestimating the costs and the costs involved. And I think you should charge more.
well, so I appreciate the comment. The full day rate would be the open hours of the park. So that would be
Right,
from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
right.
Now, that's just for the space. If there's additional setup, if there's something like you're talking about with regards to trash or that we have to staff, there would be additional fees on top of that. That is just essentially the cost for the space, not necessarily everything that would go along with it.
Okay, and last comment I'll just say, I mean, again, I'm not an expert, but I mean, I do worked in major events with my family that's been their business for 35 years. I just think you're asking too little, even if it's just for the space. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much, Roberta. Appreciate that. As Matt said, it's an unbelievable value, and it continues to be. So, okay. Well, with that said, I don't have any other hands up, so I guess I could drop our
hello?
third. Oh, yes. Hello.
I guess I can't raise a hand either.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mr. Mason, go right ahead.
A couple questions for Matt. What's the, for the, you have a classic and a premium for the community center. What's the difference? What's the benefit of the premium over the classic?
Sure. So the classic membership gets you in the door over here at the community center. You get access to the cardio, strength equipment, everything that we have in the facility equipment wise. You get 100 weekly group fitness classes. You get access to the 15 tennis courts, 10 pickleball courts, the lap pool, racquetball court, and the lounge. You also get 24 hours in advance registration reservations. With the premium membership, you get all of that. You also get access to the Oro Valley Aquatic Center. You get access to the 16 tennis courts over at the Push Ridge Tennis Facility. You get 72 hours in advance registration or reservation. I'm sorry, 72 hours in advance reservation timeline. So 2 extra days to reserve over a classic membership. You also get a 15% discount at the Overlook Restaurant, a 20% discount on tennis equipment, and a 25% discount on tennis apparel. So you do get access to 3 additional facilities. You get 2 additional days in advance of our classic members to reserve a lap lane or a court, depending on what that is. And then you get additional discounts at the restaurant and through the tennis contractor.
Okay, thanks. Now, getting back to the pickleball courts, is the charge only after the open play when you want to reserve a pickleball court at the community center?
So yes, the fees that are being proposed here with regards to a rental are more tied towards the event types or leagues that would come in and use space
Oh,
outside of our open play hours.
okay. So if a member wants to just to reserve a court, after the open play, there's no charge for that.
That's correct. There would be no change to how it operates now. If you're a member, you have the ability to reserve courts at no charge. That's a part of your membership fee.
Uh, if assuming your all your parks fees represent 100%, what are your maybe 2 or 3 highest revenue sources for your fees?
So that would be the membership increases to the community center and the aquatic center. What's being proposed there? Are you talking about categories?
Well, I was wondering, if you kind of leave the community center off and
Mhm.
all the other fees you earn from, the archery, all the fields, what is your maybe 2 or 3 highest revenue sources for your fees?
That would be our field rentals, what we're proposing as a part of our field rentals, and the events that are listed there, as well as the swim lane rentals.
Okay.
Yeah, taking memberships out, that would be the three.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. All right, yeah, Mr. Matt Wood, patiently waiting again. Thank you.
Yeah, just to refresh my memory, how much did we spend the capital improvement plan on the tennis courts and pickleball courts a couple of years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, tennis and pickleball courts, we spent, I believe, about $2.2 million over here on that at the Community and Recreation
Yeah.
Center.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Well, if I don't, I'm happy to open it up for any other questions, whether it's, obviously we're focused on facility membership fees and rental fees, but if anybody has any questions about the overall kind of comprehensive process that we're embarking on or anything else, please, now is your time. Yes,
Hey.
Roberta, please.
Mike, Dave,
Let me
Perry, can you hear
unmute.
me?
Thanks. Excuse me.
Sorry, one sec, Dave. I think Roberta was gonna, and then I'll jump to you, Dave.
Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to know about, I've been reading recently the half-cent sales tax that was originally used to buy the community center and take care of it, and then went on to expand the parks and rec. I was reading recently that the mayor just was talking about, and a lot of the council wants to use that half-cent sales tax and put it in the general fund. And believe me, I'm all for any improvements in our town. I mean, we do a great job. But here we are increasing fees, which I'm all for, that's great. But, to me, and I use the community center a lot. I mean, it could use another fitness room. You ever go in the women's showers? They're gross. I guess I don't understand why that would be floated and supported. And I understand that's not you guys. I'm just tossing it out there, though, that should really stay for the community center and parks and rec and what it was designated for. And I'm hoping that and these increased fees will help fund upgrades and expansion. Because I got to tell you, you go in there, especially in the summer when those kids are in the community center. My God, that place is filled to the max. It needs to be expanded. It needs another fitness room. It needs better bathrooms and showers. So I'm a little unclear about why this is being so supported by members of our council and our mayor when we really could use some extra money here.
Well, I can certainly, I'm going to hand this one off to Dave, of course. And I'm guessing he probably doesn't want to speak for council by any means. But I will preface, we do have a tax conversation happening tomorrow evening on this very same platform too. So I would certainly encourage you to attend that as well. But I will tee that up for Mr. Gephardt if he is so inclined.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for the question. It's a good question, Roberta. And you're correct. I mean, the mayor and council have directed staff to bring a resolution back to them at the next council meeting in August that would basically take that half-cent sales tax and put it back in the put it in the general fund versus the community center fund. You know, I think along with that, there will be some different options that will be discussed among council as well in terms of what the community center fund even looks like moving forward. And you know, it's one of those options may be that it's no longer a community center fund, that it's just a golf fund, and the town operations portion of that then migrates to the general fund, again, just to compete amongst all the other general fund priorities of the town. So there's going to be further discussion as to what this looks like moving forward. There are some options that council will have, at least a couple, if not three different options that they'll be able to chew on and provide direction as to what they want this to look like moving forward for the town. So yeah, I think the idea here is not that, and I didn't necessarily hear this listening to the discussion amongst council members. The idea here isn't necessarily to strip funding from parks and recreation priorities, but I think the idea was to really provide more of an equal footing and just to evaluate each priority, each capital improvement project that comes before council, evaluate them independently and not provide some sort of you know, I guess preference based upon which fund that capital improvement project was funded out of. So that's really what I heard from council, and I think there will be certainly be more discussion about this, again, what it looks like moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dave. And
Dave?
another Dave Perry, sorry to cut you off there. Please go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Mike, and I can't raise my hand either, nor get my camera to work, but other than that, I'm doing really well. I live in town and I'm doing a report here for the Explorer. A couple of questions. Do you charge annual membership fees at the Community and Rec Center as well as at the Aquatic Center?
Yes, we do, Mr. Perry.
Are they discounted, Matt? Do you get a break if you buy an annual membership?
Yes, you do get a break. We waive the activation fee, and if you purchase the 12-month annual membership, there's also a 10% discount.
Okay, 12-month fee, 10% discount. Good. My other question, and I see that you're proposing that the additional revenue would go toward capital improvements. The money goes into the general fund, is that correct?
Well, depending on what money is taken in, community center memberships and rentals tied to the community center do go into the community center fund as it sits right now. The other areas of the department, like the aquatic center and all of our field rental fees, those do go into the general fund. So we do have a little bit of a split as it sits right now, depending on where the revenue is being taken in.
I see. And of course, council makes final decisions about spending with regard to capital versus operating expenses in the general fund, right, Dave?
Yes, Mr. Perry, you're correct. As it relates townwide, I mean, not just the general fund, the community center fund as well.
I see, sure, and that's a good point to make. And so lastly, it could be a possibility that depending on the future of the community center fund, it could be that all recreation fees end up flowing possibly into a general fund. Is that right?
Yes, I believe that will be an option for council to consider.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for taking my time here.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Dave.
I have a question.
Sure. Yep, I can't quite see who it is.
It's
But...
Mike Mason.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can't raise a hand either, but
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
just a question, because you're talking about the increase in your fees going to capital. Can within the park system or the finance system, can it segregate that increase to do that? Or are you going to come up with some kind of formula to do it?
Matt, do you want to take that one or you want me to take it?
Either way.
I would appreciate if you took that question.
You know, I think Mike, appreciate the question first off. Yeah, I think, you know, we had this question kind of come up even before council at the study session. How would this work? In reality, I mean, are you going to do it on a per transaction basis? Are you going to kind of do it kind of more at the end of the year? I think what we'll probably end up doing is looking at those increases and at the end of the year and applying whatever percentage that was and shifting it to capital one time at the end of the year. To me, that seems to make the most sense as to how to best accommodate this rather than to try to work it out on a per transaction throughout the year on a per transaction basis as
That would be
transactions.
kind of that would be a lot of work to do it by transaction.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions while you've got all of us experts here? If not, I can move us along in our meeting. I really appreciate everybody's time. Now that we're getting close here, I'd just like to kind of quickly summarize some of the comments and questions that we have. Of course, there was a question about, why were the younger memberships, the static ones, being held as part of the proposal. There was a thought that, nominal increases yearly may be better than the big jumps on, multiple year basis. Clarification on whether or not golf memberships fall into this proposal, which they do not. And then obviously some general support to try and get the proposal across the board, even if, to Roberta's point, maybe it's a little less in some cases than it maybe could be. So as far as facility and field rental rates, there was some clarification on what type of rates the Parks and Rec Department currently has and impacts on what that looks like moving forward. Again, talking about renting some overall parks and whatnot. Some clarity on pickleball court proposed fee increases and some question about the impression of how those seem to be bigger than some other ones. So obviously Matt answered that, trying to right size it. So obviously, again, these are being summarized and forwarded on to all the decision makers. What else? Clarity on some of the benefits to the premium membership. What was some of the improvements over the years to the pickleball and tennis facilities, just to kind of add some context to the conversation, and then ultimately had some questions and comments about fees and taxes and where those go, or not taxes, but the fees, where they go as it relates to the general fund and the community rec center fund. Which again, I will end on that note by saying, please, if you're interested, we're having the new taxes conversation at the same time as we did today, tomorrow night, here on Zoom. So I strongly encourage you to come back and join Mr. Gephardt and myself. We'll both be here for that one as well. And Miss Sims will be here as well, helping us out as she did today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share the presentation again, Miss Sims, just so we can wrap up for folks. See if I can get that going. Yep. All right. So, okay. Well, as I said, moving forward, we have 2 more events scheduled for tomorrow. As I mentioned, a discussion on some proposed tax categories. And then next Tuesday, we will have our 3rd community engagement event for stormwater utility proposed rate increase. Hopefully you guys can join us for those meetings as well. And then again, as I said at the outset, following these engagement events, staff will be back before our various respective boards and commissions with any revisions to the proposals that have been born out of our conversations that we're having with you, the residents, before ultimately moving on to town council this fall. I would like to reiterate to everybody that all of the boards and commission meetings, as well as town council meetings, are also open to the public. So we encourage you folks to join us at those meetings as well. And of course, throughout this entire process, should you have any additional questions, please send those to our constituent coordinator at ask@orovalleyaz.gov. And as always, we have more information available about the specific proposals and the overall project available on the town's website. So with that, I thank everybody for the joining us this evening, taking time out of your busy schedules. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and have a great evening. Thank you.